Happy Thanksgiving, guys, for me and the pup right here. What's up, Biza? This is Ibiza. This is my dog, guys. She's a Papillon, and she's burping here. Are you burping on the mic? Is that what we're doing? She just ate her food, guys. And happy Thanksgiving, by the way. You know, we're going to break down 10 stocks in this video very quickly. It's not going to be a long video because I don't want to keep your time too long. I know you're, probably with your friends and family, and I'm going to be with my friends and family here in about an hour. I'm just going to crank this video out and put it up for you guys. So, again, I don't even know if I said it, but we're going to break down 10 stocks that I'm looking to buy in 2023. Ibiza's going to give you guys her top 10 picks as well. So we're going to be talking about these stocks, some of which I don't own and I'm looking to buy, some of which I own already. I'm looking to add more to these stocks, the ones that I already own. So we're going to talk about these 10 companies. If you guys find value, hit that like button. Feel free to subscribe. And again, happy Thanksgiving, everybody out there. I appreciate you guys as always. Ibiza clearly is like, her eyes, what's wrong, buddy? Happy Thanksgiving. I appreciate you guys as always. I'm thankful for all you watching out there. What about you, Ibiza? Are you thankful? It looks like I'm choking her. I promise, guys, I'm not. I'm just holding her up. But yeah, gonna put her down. Let's get into the video here and talk about these stocks. So, number one, you guys see the number one stock here. It is Costco, ticker symbol COST. And this has always been a company that I've wanted to own, but to be honest, the valuation is just not where I want it to be. For me, for a long-term investment, for me personally, as a long-term investor and a trader, but looking at it from a long-term perspective, I like to buy quality companies at good prices. I'm not one of these guys that's just buying any good company at whatever price it's at. I'm looking to pay a decent price for it, and Costco is one of those companies that you guys know always freaking trades at a premium all the time. I mean, it's rare that Costco is undervalued, and it almost got to a point where it was at a decent value when it was getting to 400. That was back in May of this year, and it almost got under 400, but buyers came in real quick and then ran it all the way back up to almost $600. So at that point, I was looking to actually buy it in the middle of this year if it were to come down even lower, but clearly the stock ran away from me, like a lot of stocks have ran away from me this year. But who knows? Maybe in 2023 things might get better in terms of valuations, right? The valuation of this company might come down, and at that point I'll be ready to strike, because there's no doubt about it, Costco is a phenomenal company. It's just the valuation is not there. It's not all about buying a great company. You have to buy a great company at a reasonable price and obviously hold on for years to actually see it play out. And sometimes if you pay too much for a company, even if it's a great company, which I've talked about this before on the channel, you could actually have negative returns. If you buy it at the top, let's say you bought companies like Adobe, which we'll talk about later. I think the all-time high was 700. That thing has come down to now 330. If you bought Adobe at 700, sure, it's a great company, but it's just way overvalued. So Costco is one that I'm looking at heavily heading into this new year. And by the way, guys, cheers to the end of this year. It's not over yet, but I hope you guys did have a great 2022. Cheers to 2022 and cheers to 2023. Health, blessings, all that good stuff for the new year, guys. I hope that upon you and all your family members, your friends, all that good stuff here. I'm feeling good. It's Thanksgiving, guys. I'm feeling in a great, I'm in a great mood. I love the holidays, Christmas, Thanksgiving. I love it. So let's talk Costco again. Watching that closely. BJ's is another one that I haven't done as much research into as I have with Costco, but this is another one that is a great business model for sure. And it's in a stealth bull market. I mean, I talked to you guys about this before. BJ's is at all-time highs right now, which is insane. That goes to show the strength of this company in the midst of this recession that we're in right now. The craziness going on, which we're not going to get into in this video. But this is another one that I could consider adding to the portfolio. Sure, I'd much rather buy Costco, but BJ's, it's another good company that I would love to add at a reasonable price, which right now I just do not think it's at a reasonable price. And I'm also looking at semiconductors. I really want to add either a couple individual stocks or just buy the entire ETF, which in this case, if you guys didn't know, SMH is the VanEck ETF trust, semiconductor ETF, and this pretty much just gives you exposure to the entire space. I don't know how many, I forget how many holdings it has. I have to go double check that, but this is an ETF where essentially, if you don't know which semiconductor company is gonna crush it, whether it be Nvidia, AMD, Intel, Micron, Marvell, you don't know what's gonna happen. You could just buy the whole ETF. You own the entire space, right? This is kind of what I do with energy. You know, I own XLE right now, which is a bunch of energy companies in a single fund. And, you know, that's worked for me. You know, sure, I've owned individual energy stocks before. You know, I owned Exxon, made some money on it. What else did I own? I forget, but Exxon was really the main one. And since that point, I just put my money in XLE. It's diversified within the energy space, and I'm good, right? And SMH is pretty much the same idea, but with semiconductors. Who knows? Who knows if AMD is going to be the winner? Nvidia, sure, those two are going to be the top dogs for sure, but who knows what stock's going to perform the best? I mean, that's not the space that I'm heavily educated in, right? I'm not one of these guys that's going to be like, oh yeah, I know everything about everything, right? That's not reality, guys. Semiconductors, I'm not going to say I know nothing about them, but I'm for sure not an expert either, right? So, you know, for me to pick an individual semiconductor stock, sure, I bought Nvidia before, and that's one that I would buy. I sold out of it since. I mean, it was I made a 16% profit in like a week or two. I had to take that game. So if I had to buy an individual one, the one I know the most about is Nvidia for sure. But other than that, I mean, you know, Intel I know a little bit about. AMD, I might just buy the ETF, right? SMH. That's probably the easiest route to go at this point. You know, AMD is another one that I just mentioned, right? That I'm looking at potentially to add here in this year. And maybe the way I'd do it is I'd buy SMH and then I'd add AMD and Nvidia to have a little bit overweight in those two names. Maybe that'd be the way I'd do it. But overall, SMH, AMD, Nvidia, those are three that I'm looking at very, very heavily heading into this year. And you guys know Warren Buffett, I think, you know, based on the recent 13F filing, he bought Taiwan Semiconductor Company, which is ticker symbol TSM, I believe. Yeah, TSM. And look at that. Since that news came out, I mean, this thing's been going ballistic. And who knows? I think he probably bought it in September sometime, October. So it's not like he just bought it yesterday, but the news came out a couple days ago, which is why the stock is going crazy. A lot of people are, you know, what's that called? Cloning his pick there. And, you know, a lot of people do clone these super investors' portfolios. That's a whole different topic for a whole different video. I'm not doing that with TSM. You know, I mean, a lot of people probably blindly did do that. But I'm just going to go with, again, SMH, maybe AMD, Nvidia. We'll see if the valuation gets right. Another one that I'm looking at is JP Morgan, ticker symbol JPM. Let's pull that up. JP Morgan is one that did run away from me as well. But if it starts coming back down to, let's say, 120, 105, you know, well, definitely under 120. If it starts coming down to the low hundreds, 100, 105, 110, that would be a point that I'm looking to buy, especially under 100. And I told you guys, you know, I'm not a big bank guy either. I've owned Wells Fargo in the past, lost money on it, and since then I just have never owned you know, a bank stock other than, of course, what I have in ETFs, which, you know, if you own the S&P 500 ETF, you're going to indirectly own bank stocks through that ETF. But for me to own an individual bank stock, I haven't done that in quite some time. Funny enough, I actually owned a bank stock years ago. It was probably like almost 8 years ago. I made a ton of money on it. I forget what it was called. I think it was called like BoFi. Yeah, that's what. Wait, was it called BoFi? Now they're SoFi? Hold on a second. Is that what it was called? I forget. But they changed their name. I think Axos Financial. Yeah, it was ticker symbol AX. This was a while ago. But yeah, this is one that I made a bunch of money on years and years and years ago. That was before YouTube, way before YouTube. Then I bought Wells Fargo, lost money on that. And since then, you know, I haven't had a bank holding. And, you know, JP Morgan's one that I'm looking at. If the price gets right. Adobe, I kind of hinted at earlier in the video. This is one that also ran away from me. It was getting to a point in the higher to mid 270 or 200s rather, where I was looking at it. But it obviously ran. Now we're pretty much back in the mid 300s. If Adobe comes down under 275, guys, mid low 200s at any point in this new year that we're going into, I'm going to be a buyer. And the thing about long-term investing, guys, is, it's a lot of the time it's just waiting. That's the thing. If you're not buying ETFs, which is great for most people, I own index funds too, the S&P 500, some international exposure, some mid-cap exposure. So if you're doing that, okay, dollar cost average, for sure, that's the way to go. But if you're looking at individual stocks, it's going to be a lot of patience. It's going to be a lot of just you looking at the chart and being like, dang, man, this thing has to come down another $50 or $100 or $20, depending on what stock you're looking at, for me to even consider it being a buy. In this case with Adobe, it's got to come down like, honestly, $100, $75 a share for me to be like, all right, now's the time to go to start building this thing out. And it's just not there. And it's just not there yet. And again, it's just all about patience. And that's why people rush into things. They end up making bad decisions because they want to do things now. They want to make the move now and, it's get in the game now. But a lot of the time, being on the sidelines with certain stocks, it's smarter, especially if you understand the valuation aspect of things, which we're not going to get into that in this video. We're just more talking on a, I guess, more surface level. I don't know, maybe not surface level, but you guys know what I mean. We're not getting into the actual numbers in this video because, quite frankly, the video would be too dang long. It's already 11 minutes and it's Thanksgiving, guys. I got to wrap this video up and put it up, and get out of here. But Tesla's one that I'm looking at. I know I've been saying that I think it's going to go lower. I still think it is. And right now the market cap is a $578 billion, which I believe is still a little bit lofty. And another thing worth mentioning, you want to pay, I think I mentioned this earlier, reasonable prices for these companies, right? $580 billion I think is a little bit too overvalued for Tesla. If this were to come down to $400 billion market cap, under that into the 300s, that would be a point where I'm like, all right, maybe it's time to get that Tesla position rocking and rolling again, because I used to own a good amount of Tesla and I locked in a lot of profits, and I'm not one of these guys that bought way early. I mean, that would have been great, but I did have some, I forget exactly what price, man. It was a while ago, but I made some good money on it, and I have a little bit of the position left, but really not even anything worth, it's nothing crazy. So I'd consider adding more to that, building it back up if it were to come down to, let's say, 125 a share, 130 in that general range, right? Another one that I'm looking at is Enphase, which I've mentioned before, a little bit more of a speculative play here, and this is just one that is a growth beast for sure, and it's just way overvalued in my opinion. It's too hot. Sure, as a trade, it looks great. The ascending triangle might play out. We might break out of 325, go even higher than that. But, as a long-term play, the valuation is just not there yet on Enphase. And the last two, which are the most obvious ones I talk about all the time, which I left them last for that reason, Google, Alphabet. I'm looking to buy more of this. I'm nibbling a little bit pretty much every couple weeks on this company, as long as it's under $100 a share. I really like it if we're looking 5-10 years out. And of course, if this year at any point it goes down to the 80s again, under 80 into the 70s, man, I'm going to be buying a crap ton of Google and Meta, which is probably the most controversial one. It is what it is, guys. This is one that I'm also going to be buying. Nothing crazy. I'm not making this, like I said, a top 3, a top 5 holding, but it might get there over time if it plays out. I mean, at this point, it's down a ton. If this thing 2-3x's, it could become a top holding for me. But at this point, I'm just nibbling. I'm keeping it not a speculative position, because it's not speculative in my opinion, per se. I mean, you could argue it is with everything going on with the metaverse, what's going on inside the business. All right, there's some uncertainty right now, but I don't think quite yet you could put it on in the speculative category. Extremely speculative, I guess. It's not like a penny stock or an unprofitable company. They're just going through some turmoil in the short term where I believe it'll turn around. I think Zuckerberg's already taken accountability. I think things could turn around. We'll see. I could be wrong, but this is one that I'm also buying heading into this year. So with that being said, guys, happy Thanksgiving. I appreciate you guys as always. If you want some free stocks, hey, you might as well get some free stocks from Moomoo, from Webull. All those are linked down below. Check out my Patreon as well. And with that being said, I appreciate you guys again. Happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I appreciate you guys. I can't say it enough. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.